What do a Roman Colosseum full of gladiators, death, carnage, blood, violence, thumbs up, thumbs down, which really wasn't a thing, and a Taylor Swift concert have in common? Answer: should be pretty easy for most of you. Screaming crowds, overpriced snacks, and at least one person leaving in tears. Today we're diving into Taylor Swift's Eras Tour and Taylor Swift as an entertainer in general. Not just the music, but her fandom. And not just the fandom, the economic impact she's created with her tours lately. Spoiler, Taylor Swift is basically the Federal Reserve in glitter boots. But don't worry, we'll connect it to ancient Rome, medieval monarchs, and maybe even a guy who thought juggling lions in front of a crowd was a good idea. It wasn't. So let's start with the numbers, because nothing screams rock concert like cold, hard accounting. The Eras Tour has been described as a $1 billion boost to the economies. Hotels sell out, flights skyrocket, cities rename themselves after her. Philadelphia basically for a while turned into Swiftadelphia for a week. And honestly, that's the best branding since Constantinople decided to rebrand Istanbul. But here's the thing, this isn't new. Entertainment propping up the economy has been happening forever. In Rome, emperors would spend fortunes on gladiator games. Why? Because when people are chanting blood, 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 they're not chanting lower our taxes. No more taxes. We don't hear that, okay? It's because violence, entertainment, the sideshow brings us joy, so we forget about our pain. Caesar threw gladiator fights. Swift throws friendship bracelets. Both kept the economy humming, but only one came with $15 nachos. In Rome, they had terms for this: panem et circenses, or bread and circus. Basically, keep the people fed, keep them entertained, and they won't riot. Sound familiar? Now, I don't know about you, but every time I see a stadium full of Swifties trading bracelets and screaming lyrics like they're testifying at a church revival, I think, yep, this is Rome, but with sweet sequins and bright lights and a beautiful little montage in between showing her growing up as a little kid at a Christmas tree farm to today. The Romans gave away free grain to keep people happy. Swifties give away surprise songs to each other. They give away friendship bracelets. And then Taylor Swift herself, she'll give out like special only editions for concert goers. Both of these work. Everyone leaves happy, and they stop thinking about their troubles, their problems for at least 3 to 4 hours. And here's the kicker. The Roman economy depended on these events, just like modern cities depend on Taylor Swift rolling into town. She doesn't just perform, she boosts the local GDP. If you run an Airbnb in a concert city, congratulations. You're basically a medieval innkeeper cashing in on a royal procession. Fast forward thousands of years, medieval kings and queens did the same thing. Massive festivals, jousts, feasts. They would do this to pump up the economy, but also to have people forget about their problems, about high taxes or about war or about other things. They would bring them all into the city, they would pay money, and then they give out little trinkets to say, hey, we care about you. Watch the bloodshed. Because nothing says ignore the fact that I just raised your taxes. Like watching two guys in armor try to knock each other unconscious with sticks, right? Monarchs knew that festivals equal distractions. Louis XIV literally built Versailles so he could throw parties to keep the nobles too busy to gossiping to stage a coup. That's politics, baby. Keep them tipsy, keep them dancing. Taylor Swift, same energy. Instead of Versailles, it's SoFi Stadium. Instead of a powdered wig, it's bedazzled cowboy boots. Instead of trying to overthrow the monarchy, Swifties are just overthrowing Ticketmaster's servers. When she had her last tour, Ticketmaster had a big hubbubaloo with them because the pricing and how they were doing tickets. It became such a big deal that the Taylor Swift ticket system and how it sold the tickets became people testifying to Congress about it. Ticketmaster had screwed up so bad with the tickets for Taylor Swift, it became a national story. That's how much power Swifties have. And here's where I spiral for a second. Imagine if the fate of your city's economy depended on whether you get a Taylor Swift concert. Like the mayor sitting here sweating, thinking, if she doesn't add us to the tour, our hotels are going to go bankrupt. That's anxiety fuel right there. Imagine explaining to Marcus Aurelius, he's writing a Stoic philosophy, and you're like, yeah, Marcus, our empire's future depends on whether Taylor swings all too well the 10-minute version. But honestly, this is history. We like to think we're more evolved, right? But humans are basically the same. We crave distraction. We crave spectacle. We crave carnage. And we are happy to go into debt for both. Romans sold family heirlooms to buy gladiator tickets. Swifties, they sell plasma. Equal trade. So here's the takeaway. Taylor Swift is not just a pop star. She's part of a tradition going back thousands of years. Leaders, entertainers creating mass distraction, boosting economies, and keeping people from burning the place down. Bread and circus, feasts and joust, stadium tours, same playbook, different soundtrack. The Romans had gladiators, the medievals, we had jousts and duels. The Victorians had world fairs. We have era tours, where tickets, we can't even afford them, but we'll do anything to get them. So next time someone rolls your eyes when you're saying how, the Eras tour was amazing, or I spent this, or I spent this, just tell them you don't get it, but you do. See, we look at history and we think, oh, Taylor Swift fans are spoiled, or they're different, or they're extreme. They're not. In my lifetime, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, until today, there's always been eras of music. You have Elvis, the Beatles, Michael Jackson, Taylor Swift, and kind of everything in between, right? The difference today compared to Beatlemania, Elvis, and even Michael Jackson till the end is we have social media now and the internet where we can promote and share stories about these things. If the Beatles had TikTok, if the Beatles had Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, think how huge they would have been. But all they had was the Ed Sullivan Show and the radio. They didn't have Sirius Radio. They didn't have YouTube Music. They didn't have Spotify. They had a couple FM channels and Ed Sullivan. And that's basically it. And they were world busters. And of course, we had the World's Fair before that. We had, jousting. We had circuses. We had times and places to keep people entertained. And the people who complain about Taylor Swift are the same people who will spend $6,000 at a football game. Now, I love going to a football game. I went to a baseball game. It's expensive. They complain about how crazy Taylor Swift is becoming. But they'll watch the Kelsey brothers, one of which is dating Taylor Swift, and they'll watch her podcast. But you know who also watched that podcast? Taylor Swift fans, because Taylor Swift went on it. And it killed their rate. It jumped their ratings immensely, which made them more money. Taylor Swift right now is making money. Just like Tom Brady, just like Michael Jordan, just like Peyton Manning, just like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, just like Babe Ruth. Sports, music, it's all entertainment. It's a distraction. It's a distraction from what is really going on in the world. We don't want to think about the war in Ukraine every day. We don't want to think about Gaza, Israel. We don't want to think about Pakistan. We don't want to think about China and the Muslims that they're, working with. We don't want to think about Hong Kong. We don't want to think about South America and Colombia and Brazil and Venezuela. We don't want to think about the craziness in Europe or the craziness in Africa or South Africa. We want to think about going to a concert, going to a game, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus. We want to stream stuff that keeps us entertained to forget about the world around us. So while Taylor Swift is big, she's huge. She's brought like $5 billion to the economy in the last year between tourism, hospitality, retail. She brought $450 million alone to the city of Los Angeles when she was there for like a week. She tours the world. People will go everywhere to see her, and that's okay. But what we need to understand is she's human. Someday, sooner than not, her music will get old, and we will need to find something else to distract us from the world among us. We don't like thinking about that. Growing up, I never thought, Ozzy Osbourne would get old, or Metallica would get old, or Michael Jackson would die, or Phil Collins would end. No one thought Elvis would die or the Beatles would break up. These are all things that happen. They're hot for a certain amount of time, some longer than others, and then they disappear. Normally they disappear because of the pressure of being entertainers, of making everyone in the world happy destroys them. It makes them unhappy. They did an interview with Michael Jackson and back in the day, and they said, "Why aren't you touring anymore?" He's like, there's no joy. And before he passed away, he was going to go on one final tour called This Is It. He hadn't toured in forever, but he was going to do one last thing for the fans. But even talking to him, he showed the exhaustion thinking about the fans. Not because he hated the fans, but he felt the pressure of making the fans happy, distracting them, making it worth their ticket price to go see him. Taylor Swift has the same stress. I know she does. Every artist does. Anyone who performs, if you could be a teacher, you could work at a church, you could work, you could sell cars, you could work at Starbucks. We all perform for people in our lives. I perform talking in front of this camera. And you always have that anxiety when you perform. And some days you feel great. Other days you feel like you've let the whole world down. And while Taylor probably doesn't show it, she probably feels it. So that's the point, guys. Taylor Swift is a distraction. She is entertainment. She has the gross domestic product of some countries. Taylor Swift has helped our economy and our people forget about the world around us. She has helped us be entertained. She has helped us understand that there are good things going on in the world. We can forget about war, famine, disease, strife. We can just take it off and keep moving. Here's the last point. Historians, entertainers, we're very similar. As somebody who has studied history and loves history and thrives with history, I look at it as entertainment. I enjoy talking to people about things that have happened and connecting the dots between the Eras tour of Taylor Swift to Julius Caesar and the Roman Colosseums and the gladiators. I enjoy that. So when you talk to someone, you're like, well, he's a history buff. It's kind of boring. If you talk to someone who's really that way, They look at things and they understand how the dots connect. Even dark events like World War II and Hitler, we had the Olympics, and in the Olympics, Jesse Owens destroyed Hitler's philosophy. It was entertainment, but it was also world changing. While Taylor Swift hasn't gone against, the leader of the enemy, evil and Hitler, she's changed people for the better mostly. She's helped economies. She's helped people relax for 3 hours in the rain, in the heat. Perfect weather, not perfect weather. She's always performed no matter what. And while it might not seem a big deal to you, performing in front of thousands of people every night, knowing some of those people have given up everything to see you once, it's a lot of stress. And while you might not like her music, you need to give her a thumbs up, because she's willing to put herself 100% out there so you are entertained.